The True Ambition podcast with John Zink is brought to you by IT Avalon. IT Avalon, IT staffing and professional services done right. Visit our sponsor at itavalon.com. Now, welcome to True Ambition.
Everybody, welcome to the True Ambition podcast. My name's John Zink, and I'm here today with my friend Gary Owen.
What's up, John?
What's up, Gary?
Nothing.
Well, thanks for stopping by. Today, we're at Stick Cigar Lounge in beautiful Brentwood, California.
Not the Brentwood to be confused with OJ.
Not that one.
Northern California.
Yeah. All my friends back in the Midwest, when I say Brentwood, think that I'm very, very wealthy and can afford to live in that Brentwood. Mm-hmm. But I can't.
I think you can.
Right
when
now,
the numbers come in off this podcast, wait.
just wait for it.
Yeah.
But we're at Sticks right now, so it's time to go ahead
Wait.
and light it up.
Wait till you light it up.
What?
Got your Christmas present.
Uh-oh. On camera? Oh, my God. Hold on. RP.
Signed by Rocky Patel.
By Rocky Patel.
First and last name.
Oh, my God. Oh, it's the lightsaber. Oh, my God. All right.
I don't know if there's butane in it.
Listen.
I hope there is.
Listen. Eat your heart out, Steven Salatz. You know, he's going to want to get one right away.
Ain't going to have it autographed by Rocky Patel.
No, I'll sign it, though. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, should we see if there's butane in it?
We'll try it.
All right. Let's see.
Set the whole podcast up.
Ed, be careful.
Oh, boy. You got to flip it up. You got to flip it up yourself.
Flip it up this way?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hold it. No butane in it? All right.
This thing's a garbage. Ah!
That's why it got sent through the mail. All right.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I have to get him a gift. Will you put that down? Yeah. You know what? I'm going to use my matches now. Because that thing doesn't work.
Do they have butane or butane here at the cigar lounge?
No.
No? I figured they would.
Oh, man. We are going to hotbox Ed right out of here.
Great.
So, Gary Owen, comedian and actor, one of the top stand-up comics in the country, and he's a Navy veteran. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Beautiful wife, Kenya.
I have sex with her.
Boom. Kids, Kennedy, Austin, and Emilio.
3.
And a little bitty ass dog.
Daisy.
Daisy. I full disclosure, we both live in Brentwood part of the time. It's our vacation homes. And I see that little ass dog out there every once in a while with Austin sometimes out there. And I just heard there's a turd on the carpet.
Yeah. Get home, man. That's his only responsibility is my son who's out of high school, still trying to figure life out. Because, I think when you grow up, it's that turn 18, graduate high school, get out of the house. And I'm trying to break that cycle. I don't want to kick my kids out and they don't know what they want to do with their lives yet. So I'm literally giving him a year to figure it out. So I'm not trying to pressure him too much. He's not asking for money. He's got his own account because he's teaching kids how to play video games. Somehow he's got a PayPal account and he won't let me get the login. So there could be some Walter White stuff happening from Breaking Bad. I keep looking for an RV in the backfield behind our house.
Well, he might do something where it's like, he doesn't talk to anybody. So maybe it's like one of those things where, I think, was it Goodfellas or something? The boss never talks directly to any of the guys.
Yeah.
So it's like three people removed. Could be one of those deals.
Could be. We'll find out.
So now you and I met because of COVID.
Yeah.
It shut you down. shut down your whole industry, and then all of a sudden, you're like,
I had to hang out in the neighborhood.
yeah, who are these people?
Right. This is new. Since me and Kenya's been together, this is the third neighborhood we've lived in where there's neighbors around us, obviously. And the last two, I didn't know anybody. There was never no get-togethers. We never went over to neighbor's house like this. We did have neighbors that we knew and we saw and waved, and we're always nice to people. But to like, hey, let's go to Tahoe and hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We never had that before.
Yeah.
You know, because I always say in my line of work, we've never had travel friends that we're comfortable enough to go to even like entertain the idea of going to like Hawaii or going to, I don't know, Europe or anything like that. This is the only neighborhood we've lived in where it's like, okay, I could hang out with them for a week.
Yeah.
Like in a hotel.
A couple days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta always be together.
So, speaking of that, you are at a level where you can still go out and perform. It's got to be hell on people who are just coming up this whole COVID thing for guys that are just starting off in the business.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad that, well, there's certain states like Texas is open a little bit. Florida's open. But if you're just starting out, or if you're in your first couple years and you don't have a lot of credits and you're not selling tickets, it'd be a difficult time. But we are in an age of stand-up where more than any other time, you can create your own narrative. Like you have a network, which we call YouTube, that you can make it into your own whatever you want. And you don't have any like, there's no chiefs in the, there's not a bunch of bosses in the kitchen. It's all, you can just cook up whatever you want and put it on YouTube. If it sticks, it sticks. Sometimes it don't. You know what I mean?
Go on TikTok.
You can go on TikTok. It was funny. Like I was fighting for this movie part about 2 years ago and I didn't get it. But the studio that did the movie, they weren't that familiar with me. And then during COVID, the guy of this studio got wind of me through TikTok. I started putting all my stand-up videos on TikTok. So he asked for a meeting. So we did a Zoom meeting. And he's sitting there telling me, I didn't really know who you were till this break. And my kids were watching you on TikTok. And I started watching your stuff. And I said, man, I got to meet this dude. So we had a meeting. And I was like, it's so weird how this whole business goes full circle. When I was fighting for this movie part that I didn't get, he probably didn't have any clue who I was. And now 2 years later, he got wind because of COVID. He had time to like take a step back and start watching videos and what's on your kid's phone and stuff like that.
Well, I had no clue what TikTok was until like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. Because like the neighborhood kids are like doing their little dances and stuff and putting it on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, with this podcast and shit, people are like, well, you got to go to TikTok. I'm like, all right, well, you do that because I have no clue what the hell's going on it. But it's like, that's like the biggest thing right now.
Well, the new thing now is Clubhouse. You heard of that?
No.
That's the new thing.
God damn it.
You got to get on Clubhouse, John. There's deals getting made on Clubhouse. All it is, it's an app, and everyone's logging in now, and you got these different rooms. You can create your own room about whatever you want to talk about. So whatever your line of work is, you could put it up there, and other people will see it, and they'll log in. And there's people like me. I go to all the comedy rooms and stuff like that, and I'll go to like sports rooms, and people are talking about the Bengals or talking about the Vikings or whatever you want to talk about. But it's the new thing, so you might want to get on board.
All right, fine. All right, now you talked about at the beginning there, like we're getting ready to dive into some deep stuff here because this is a True Ambition podcast, and we talk about how you got where you're at, what your true ambition is now. Now, everybody who knows you knows that you grew up in a trailer park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up around the corner from the trailer park in Mount Carroll, Illinois, and we used to play hide and seek all the time at the trailer park because there was hedges all over the place and stuff. You know, so I wasn't too far away from it. But talk about where you grew up. and how you grew up.
Well, we moved into the trailer park when I was 10. So before that, I don't know, me and my mom was all over the place, sticking and moving. Then we get into the trailer park, and the plan was she married this guy who she's still married to this day, and he said, we're going to get this trailer and move it down to Cocoa Beach, Florida, and he's going to start a sign painting company with his uncle. The uncle dies. So we're just stuck in the trailer, which I don't think we would have moved to Cocoa Beach anyways. And it just stayed there. And he didn't have enough drive or business savvy or whatever to start his own sign company, I guess. So we just kind of stuck there in the trailer park. And I was like, I just remember growing up, I had my own room. We had these big bay windows in front of the room. And we didn't have sidewalks in the trailer park, but everyone would just kind of hang out in the streets. Like literally guys would come to my door and goes, hey, is Gary here? Want to go walking? And we just walk around the trailer park solving world's problems. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
No, we
win the lottery.
Win the lottery. I had guys up the street from me. There was one guy, Joe Grislack, that lived right between my house and the trailer park. And then we had all these guys that lived in the trailer park. We had to have all the guys in the trailer park so we could play football. You know, so we get all the guys up there. Joe was the guy because he had a 3-wheeler. He had an above-ground pool. He had all the stuff that you want to do. Oh, yeah. Joe's house
Joe
was
was Elon Musk.
From Mount Carroll, he was. So, and we'd go up there and hang out and play all day long. We just had a freaking blast. I'd go to Scott's house. Hey, is Scott home? Want to go walking? That was pretty much me.
Yeah. You got excited when kids knocked on your door.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it was either they want to fight or go walking. Come out here.
Let's go walk fighting.
Yeah. But I just remember sitting in front of them bay windows, and I would get grounded. Man, my mom and the guy she's married to my groundings were like this enormous amount of time. It wasn't a week. It'd be like 8 weeks. And I'd just be like I'd be like, God, and I was so afraid to ask, am I ungrounded yet? And I would just wait.
2 more weeks.
Yeah. So then I would just sit. Well, I used to sit in front of this bay window and just watch everything go down at night because we had a bar in front of the trailer park. And so all the guys over 21 would just hang out at this bar. Then they'd always walk back Fridays and Saturday nights drunk. And you don't know what would happen. You see fights, you see affairs, you see everything. The funniest was this one. So this guy moves in. He's dating this girl. And the rumor is in the neighborhood she's sleeping with another guy in the trailer park. So he goes to the bar and he's coming down, and I could see him coming, and like 3 people yelled, he's coming. Well, let's just say David's coming. He's coming. He had these cowboy boots on, and like one of the guys in the neighborhood tried to distract him, like stall so the other guy could get out of the trailer. So he was in close enough range that he could see his trailer. So my bay window, I could see like it was right next door to me. I could see the trailer. This guy came barreling out of the window, like out of a movie, and draws with his clothes, and the girl's throwing the clothes out to him, right? So he grabs it and he runs away. And I just remember let's just say the guy David. He sees the guy, and the one guy is trying to distract him. He goes, "Hey, partner," and put his hands on his head. He goes, "Draw." Like he was a cowboy. So then the girl comes walking out of the trailer. She got her robe on and house slippers. And she runs up. She goes, "Hey, baby. Hey." He goes, "How you doing, baby?" And they go in the trailer, and somehow something must have got left, because then the shit hit the fan.
Uh-oh.
And then he comes out, and he goes, "Where's he at? We'll kick his ass. Where's he at?" And then she's walking the streets going, "We were just talking. People can't talk anymore. We're just talking." and then here comes my stepdad come running out of the trailer, and it's just a big chaos trying to get to this dude who lived in the trailer park, but now he's on the other side. So everybody went over there to go confront him, but everybody knew he was sleeping with her. I was like this, well, she was a cat. I never knew what happened. I never knew if the fight happened that night or not.
They're fighting for her. So when you were growing up in that situation, what did you dream of being when you were a kid? I'll tell you what I did. Want to be a garbage man? Because those guys rode in the back of the garbage truck. That looked fun as shit. Fireman? Wanted to be a fireman. I guess I just wanted to ride on trucks.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Comedian.
Wow. From what age?
Birth.
Really?
It's the only thing I wanted to do. There's my 6th grade gym teacher, who still I'm friends with today. His name's Mel Edwards. He ended up being my high school football coach. 6th grade, first day of school, I'm talking while he's talking. He goes, hey, I'm talking. What do you want to be, a comedian or something? Trying to be a comedian? I was like, yeah. And he said, to this day, he goes, your eyes lit up so much. He had to backtrack. He goes, well, not in my class. And I would literally, John, I'm not lying. I would tell girls, and this sounds cocky, but whatever. There was my high school quarterback. His name was Wentz Morris. He's a really good athlete. He end up going to Miami of Ohio and being the quarterback. He goes, I remember my senior year, which was his junior year. We're in somebody's house, some house party. We're in the backyard, and this girl goes, hey, Wentz, when you get out of college, you go to the NFL, and you're going to be big and famous, you going to forget about us? I said, what are you talking to him for? I'm the one that's going to be big and famous. The girl just looked at me. I was like, what? And then 2 different times I ran away from home. One of the times, me and my buddy, it was my junior high school, we got in his car, and we drove down to the bus station in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we stopped at Kroger's, which is a grocery store, and I got goober grape, so you can mix the peanut butter and jelly together, a loaf of bread, and I had a thermos, and I had my backpack, and I said, I'm going to go to L.A. I'm going to ride the bus in L.A. I'll make it. I'm funny enough, Derek. I'll make it. And Derek's hyped me up. Derek Callahan's name. He goes, yeah, man, you're funny, man. So I'm going to make it, man. I'll make it. I'm crying in the car. I'm going to make it, man. I'm too funny, man. I'm not happy with my home life, so I'm going off on everybody in my trailer. And then we got on the bus station, we had like $13 between us, and then I didn't have an ID. So I was like this travel's a little harder than I thought. I never rethink this. But the plan was to get on the bus to go to L.A., and I'll just eat peanut butter and jelly the ride out there.
So you had the goober grape where it's mixed together?
Yeah, so I had the peanut butter and the jelly.
Yeah,
and
you're thinking ahead.
Loaf of bread.
I don't want 2 jars.
No, that's too much. I was like this, I'll just eat it on the way out there, man. I'll eat a sandwich a day. In my mind, it was going to take 3 months to get there on a bus. What is it right now, February? We'll be there by April.
So who, when you were a kid, who were your idols as far as stand-ups?
Well, obviously Eddie Murphy. And then one was Sam Kinison, because now that I'm doing good as a stand-up, but I'm what I call black famous. Like I don't think there's ever been a comic that has like a white guy that is like dang near A-list with black people and damn near anonymous with white people. And I don't think there's ever been a comic like that in the history of comedy.
I've experienced it. You and I were at Harrah's up in Tahoe, and we walked past pretty much every white person in there, and nobody. Every once in a while, somebody like, "God, I know that guy from. Is that my cousin?"
Yeah.
You know. And then we walk past a black girl, and she starts crying.
Yeah.
And she goes, "There he is. That's him. That's him." You know. And she had a couple drinks in her. But I mean, she was crying, you know, just to get a chance to meet you, and it was eye opening for me, you know, to see that. It was crazy.
Yeah, but you know, all the black comics I talk to, because that's usually who are my contemporaries when I'm on the road and doing tours with. They all talk about how they used to listen to Richard Pryor albums in the basement, or everybody watched Eddie Murphy. For me, growing up in my age group, we used to listen to Sam Kinison cassette tapes, and we were always dumbfounded. We'd be driving around in high school, like, I can't believe you said that about God.
Oh, that was one of my favorite bits of Sam Kinison.
Right. And then we were like this, oh my God.
He's got the 12 losers out there following him around.
I was like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. Like, we were just dumbfounded, like, play it again.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we'd be at baseball practice or football, and we'd be quoting Sam Kinison all day at practice. You know what I mean? So probably growing up, it was Eddie Murphy and Sam Kinison was the two that I thought was I could literally quote every joke growing up from them.
Kinison was huge. You know, I graduated in 1990 from high school, And I mean, he could do no wrong there for a few years. And it was so much fun to watch everything he did, except for when he was self-destructing.
Yeah. But he didn't give a shit. It's always good to see those comics that are doing stuff nobody's done before. And then I was watching documentary, and even Jim Carrey brought up, the other comics would be like, there's a guy that's doing stuff I've never seen done before. You got to check this guy out. Because literally, I heard stories about him being at the Comedy Store, and this before cell phones, bringing up the phone, the Comedy Store phone on the stage. And when anybody get dumped lately, and would have a guy call the girl, and then Sam would be like, "You cut!" and start cussing around. They're like, "This, what is going on?" Just going nuts on her on the phone. I was like, man, I wish I was there to see that.
Well, isn't his backstory, wasn't he like a preacher or something?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, crazy, man. Right?
Yeah, because that one bit that he had about Jesus, and then, when Mary's pregnant and Joseph's like, what? Like, no, a ghost came in here and I got pregnant. He goes, what?
I wish they would, as far as HBO or some of these streaming services, I wish they would just pull some of those out of the vault and re-release those classic stand-ups like they never came out. Because there's a whole group of people, right? But you probably couldn't. We're in this cancel culture, and millennials, they want to get offended on social media. Most millennials are cool face to face. It's those social media keyboard millennials that are giving millennials a bad name, I'll say.
Well, that's one of the questions I had for you in this quote unquote cancel culture.
I knew that, John.
I mean, you got freaking, they find something you did 10 years ago or something you said. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're done. Like, what?
They act like you're done, but you're not. I've learned that. Social media, because I've been canceled about 20 times, and it does. I still sell out. I'm like this. Oh, that didn't hurt my ticket sales. But what I found is those. I watched that show on Netflix, Social Dilemma. So they tell you how there's literally bots, and they're just people that's all they do is to get a rise and get a reaction. And there's these algorithms, and they just want to know I went viral because of this. But a lot of those people always say they were never going to pay to see me anyways.
Right.
So I don't really care about your opinion. Now, if you come to see me live, you paid your money to come see me, and you send me a message on social media, whatever outlet, whether it's a Facebook message, a DM on Instagram, or a tweet or whatever, I'll engage that person because I'll be like, okay, what didn't you like? And I'll explain where I was coming from. And I've had a lot of good back and forth with people that came to my shows. Even one guy, I remember him telling me he didn't appreciate something I said on stage, and instead of attacking him, saying, you know what you're talking about, I asked him, what was that? And we got a good back and forth dialogue. And then at the end, he basically said, I still don't appreciate what you said. That little bit, I'm on stage over an hour, but there's 3 minutes that he didn't appreciate. But he said, but I'm always going to support you and come see you regardless and bring my family and friends. So it didn't like turn into, well, screw you then, you've lost a fan and everything. It turned into, I know that guy's going to come see me next time and probably bring friends, just because I was like, well, I see where you're coming from. It was adults, basically. But his opinion mattered because he paid to see me.
Thinking while you're talking about that, so I own an IT staffing company, and we have, I deal with people. So my contractors work at all these different client sites. Shit goes wrong. A guy won't show up for work or quits or whatever it is. If I and my company go in and hit the problem straight on and take care of the problem, then I've got a client for life. Even though one of the people that were my employee caused the problem, mm-hmm. If you take care of the problem and hit it head on, instead of trying to run away from it, it takes care of everything. So I was just thinking about that while you're talking, because it's a completely different industry, but almost the same thing you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the whole cancel culture thing is just like almost laughable to me, because it's just like, find out something that did 10, 20 years ago, that somebody did 10 or 20 years ago, and they go, I can't believe you said that. I'm like, really? Did you live 10 or 20 years ago? everybody said that kind of shit.
Did you see Chappelle's speech at the Kennedy Honors?
I don't know if I did or not.
He hit the nail on the head. He hits the nail on the head a lot of times. He's brilliant. But he said instead of getting upset and angry at a comedian saying something that you don't like or don't agree with, he said, I guarantee you there's a comedian that is a champion for causes that are important to you, and support that guy. Whether you're so if you're a Trump supporter and there's a comic out there that's pro-Trump, support him instead of getting mad at a comic that's anti-Trump. You know what I mean? It's
right.
The same with anything, any line of work. If you're gay, find a gay comic. They're out there, and support that person instead of getting mad at somebody making fun of gay people. My thing is with comedy, I think we're offensive proof. I don't get offended by anything. There's
right.
nothing you can say to me that's going to offend me. And what I think is you just I completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, John. The cigar got to my head.
Well,
I was about to say something so profound. I screw myself.
It was so profound that it's gone.
Yo, wow. I tell you? I'm going to tell it to you in Belgium. No, just kidding.
So my whole thing is like, it's called freedom of speech. You can say whatever the hell you want to. You know, just like you said before, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. Walk away. You know, do something else. But it's like just hearing something, and all of a sudden, well, that person's done. It's garbage to me.
Well, the problem with stand-up right now is the reason we're I think most big headliners are sticklers, like no phones, no pictures, no videos, because sometimes we have a thought in our head, and then we do it on stage, and it might not be the finished product, and it might, we're working it out. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should say that. But somebody gets it on their phone, posts it on YouTube or any social media, and then you got people attacking this person for doing a joke like it wasn't the finished product.
Right.
It was a thought I had. It's not like who I am as a person. It's just a joke like, oh, that'd be funny. And honestly, I think most people go to comedy clubs because they want to hear shit that's uncomfortable. And dark humor is the best humor to me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Listen, when I die, if people aren't roasting me at my funeral, I'm going to be upset. I don't know if I can do anything about it, but I want to get roasted at my funeral. Bring up all my flaws.
Well, the other thing I heard was, when I write the check for my funeral, I want it to bounce. I love that. Do you want to live rich or die rich? It's like I've been listening to all this stuff lately. So you dreamed about being a comic from the time you were a kid. Talk about how you got into the Navy.
It was my senior year of high school, and in my brain, I was going to be a comedian. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I knew I was going to do it. And my buddy, his name was Michael Heineman. He's still one of my best friends of this day. He's the guy's house I ran away to when I would run away. Him and his dad, to this day, I don't know how they got in the trailer. It was Saturday morning. I'm asleep. All I look up, Mike's shaking me. Get up. And his dad's in the car. I go, huh? He goes, come on, man. I got to get you out of here. I go, what are you doing? He goes, what are you doing after high school? I go, I don't know. He goes, you got to get out of here, man. He takes me down to the recruiting station. He had already joined. So he takes me down to the Navy recruiting station. I met with the Marines, the Army, and the Navy because they were all right next to each other. So that same day, I walked into all three recruiting offices that Saturday morning. And then for some reason, the Air Force and the Coast Guard wasn't there. Or I would have went into everybody's. Knew I didn't want to join the Marines. I said, that's too dangerous. The Army, I was like, the Army recruiter laid it on so thick. I go, oh, he's full of shit. He made the Army sound like it was Bora Bora. It was amazing.
This could be so much fun.
Well, I did a joke about like, he goes, so what are you doing right now? I said, well, I'm on the wrestling team. He goes, you wrestle? And then he told me like I could join the Army wrestling team. I said, dude, I'm awful. Like I'm really bad and I hate wrestling. The only reason I wrestled is my friends wrestled and I just want to hang out with them. I used to pimp myself, John. Like, guys, I mean, if you got to the second period with me, you're awful. Because I'm trying to put my shoulders on the mat. I had one guy, he was fighting me. I'm like in his ear, like, I'm trying to help you. Tell your mom, get her camera out. This is going to be a proud moment. I swear I have to be in at least 20 shots of guys that are probably gloating over their greatest wrestling victory, and I'm probably right there. This guy's amazing. But the Navy guy they were straight up with me. So I was like, oh, and my buddy had joined. So I go, and then I was thinking like, I had my grandfathers were in the Navy, my biological father's in the Navy. I was like this, okay. I was thinking that'd be a cool legacy, and they had jobs I wanted. So I was like, all right, I could do this while I'm figuring out how to get to California. The whole goal was to get to California and do stand-up, but I just didn't know how I was going to get there. And I was like, wait a minute, Navy got a lot of big bases in California. So I joined the Navy. I graduated high school in June. I was in the Navy in July. And then the first 2 years I was in a Presidential Honor Guard. So we spun rifles and marched in all the parades. Like I did the Clinton's inauguration parade, bunch of funerals at Arlington and stuff like that. And then I went to the police academy after I got done with 2 years in the Honor Guard. I went to police academy, went to school in San Antonio, got stationed in San Diego because I was like, in my brain, California was LA. I didn't know there was different cities.
Me too.
Well, look, David Lee Roth, I wish y'all could be California girls. I looked at the video and I go, oh, that's California.
Yeah.
It's just one long beach. And then the Boys in the Hood came out. I go, there is a bad part there. So in my brain, California was beach, gangs. That was it. I didn't know there was Mexicans here. I was like this. It's just beaches and gangs.
There's like two.
Yeah. But so I got out to San Diego, and the first day I get to San Diego, Mike Heineman, the guy I joined with, he's already been stationed out here. So I call him up. I said, yo, I'm driving. I drove my Oldsmobile Cutlass that I saved up all my money my first 2 years in the Navy to get. And I drive it out to San Diego. He says, well, stay with me for a week. So I stay out here for a week with him. And then I said, dude, he had an extra room. I said, I can move in, man. We can split the rent. He was like, all right. Now he's my roommate. My best friend from high school is now my roommate. And my first day in San Diego, I got in a phone book and started looking for stand-up comedy clubs. And then it took about a couple weeks so I can get on stage. And the first time I ever officially got on stage was at the La Jolla Comedy Store, probably 2 weeks after I got to San Diego. And I got basically heckled off. And it took another year for me to get the nerve to go back on stage after that.
So that first time was horrible?
Pretty bad because it was open mic Sunday night. In my brain, I was about to be discovered. I thought I'm going to get on stage and be like, where's this guy been our whole
Where's he been
lives?
hiding?
This guy is the biggest natural on the planet. Like I'm dressed up. I was in like a suit and I was like this, I'm ready to go. And I got there and all these open micers like in jeans and cutoffs. And I was like, oh, I think I overdressed. And then I get on stage. There's like 10 people in the audience, but about 20 comics in the back. And the comics started heckling me. And when I say heckle, I don't mean like interrupting. Comics have a way of doing this laugh called, ah! That's what like that's almost like a sarcastic comic laugh. We do that laugh when you're bombing because you're letting them know. But it's almost like you're trying. So we're giving you like, ha! So I was getting that, and they were cutting off my jokes, though. So I couldn't get through a joke. And I had this 5 minutes that I've been working on my entire life. This is going to set it off. Right. And I couldn't get through a whole setup punchline because I'm like, oh, these guys are messing me up. And then the crowd's there's only 10 people. They're not laughing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh. So I had a beer in my hand. And I said, hey, all you comics in the back, keep heckling. I'm 20 years old. I've been drinking this club all night. Why don't I call the cops and shut this motherfucker down? When I say the mic cut off, the lights cut off, a bouncer, picked me up by the back of my collar, and literally another guy grabbed me, and my feet are barely touching the ground. They threw me out the front door where I did a front roll. I was like, doo, and then this guy named Fred, he actually won $100,000. He was a grand prize winner on America's Funniest Home Videos, the first season. Yeah. So like 93 or something. he had these crutches. So he was a disabled dude. And I just remember he came out and got these two bouncers looking at me, and he comes out like this, and the crowd goes, "Don't ever come back again." He was the manager. And then he just came crippling back in, right? And I go, "What was that?" I'm dusting myself off. I remember leaving there going, "God damn it. I think I got to work a 9 to 5 the rest of my life." It was the most like depressing feeling I've had. And then I go back to the Navy ship the next day I'm on, and a couple of the brothers that I worked with is like, "What happened last night?" I go, "Man," I told them the whole story. And then we're still talking about doing stand-up. And then as time went on, they start telling me, "Hey man, there's other rooms." So the black guys on my Navy, in the Navy, that I was in the Navy with, they started telling me about all these quote unquote hood rooms I could go to. A lot of the white comics don't want to go to those rooms. So I said, "I'll go. I just want to tell jokes." So then that's where I really start cutting my teeth and getting stage time, was the quote unquote hood spots in San Diego. And then just kind of took off from there. So I get back on stage. And I ended up getting back in good graces with the Comedy Store. After a year, I came back and apologized, told Fred my story. Like, "Yo, I was getting heckled and I didn't have any material, but I've really been working on my act. And I'm sorry I did that, but I'm 21 now."
I was going to say, and I'm 21.
Yeah, I'm 21 now. And I'd really like to, get a shot at being a regular here if I could. And then he said, "All right, come back Sunday, open mic. I'll give you 5 minutes." So I did my 5 minutes, and I remember I got off the stage, and it was a good 5 minutes, and Fred, he goes, "Funny shit, Gary." And then I got a call next day going, "All right, you're a regular at the Comedy Store in La Jolla." So that's where I kind of had my little home club that I could get up a couple times a week. And then if a big headliner came in, sometimes locals would get to do 5 minutes before them. Or at least my big thing was I got to go see them perform. Like I knew everybody there now, so I could, if like a Dice Clay came in town, if a Chris Rock came in town, I could sit in the back and watch them. Just be in awe, like, how are they doing that for an hour? Because I was getting up to like 10, 15 minutes now. I was like, I'm good. Whoa, guy's up there for an hour.
Well, 5 or 10 minutes by yourself has to be a lifetime when you're starting. Like, my background, I sing with bands. I play drums in bands. You have 4 or 5 other people on stage with you. So it's like you can bomb, but you're bombing with other people. Whole different deal. Mm-hmm. It's like I've always talked about going up and trying just an open mic night somewhere for 3 or 4 minutes just to see what it's like, because it sounds like it's terrifying.
Really?
I've talked to people about it before. It's like I just like to experience what that's like, because it has to. I mean, just standing there for 3 to 5 minutes has to be like an eternity.
When you're first starting?
When you're first starting.
It's crazy. Like when you're first starting, if you're not doing well, the crowd's flat, which happens like when you first start doing stand-up. It's different now because they're paying money to see me. So there's a level of expectation, and they're also there to have a good time. Like they're already fans.
Yeah.
When you first start out, that's when you get hecklers. That's when you get crowds that aren't paying attention, because a lot of people are coming in for free. You're doing bars. Like I did everything. I used to do on, it was Wednesday or Tuesday. I think it was Wednesday night in San Diego. There was a place called El Torito, a Mexican restaurant, but they had karaoke night. I would go do stand-up because there was a microphone and a stage. So people got to know, oh, that's that funny dude. He ain't singing. He gonna tell jokes. So they had like a time slot for me now. Like it got to the point where like at 10 o'clock, I would go up. No matter what the lineup was for the karaoke, from 10 to like 10:10, I got to go up. And I got to know the guy that was doing the karaoke and everything else. So I just, those karaoke nights, sometimes I was just me dealing with hecklers, but it was fun. So I got
and you're learning.
Yeah, I'm getting comfortable on stage. I'm cutting my teeth. And I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at this Jones and stuff. And then, but then once you start getting established, you don't get, because people always ask, how you deal with hecklers? I go, you don't get them that much the bigger you get, because people are coming to watch you and they already like you. In the beginning, though, man, you don't know what you're walking into. Like biker bars, everything. I just want to get on stage. Like I miss those days though in San Diego where you would just go and you'd hit 3-4 different clubs a night, and you're riding around with your comedian buddies, and you're all talking about, man, that last crowd, what the fuck? There was one night in Pacific Beach, in San Diego. There was 4 people at this bar, and When I got on stage, 2 of them left. It's these 2 guys at this high top bar table, and they're probably 21. When I tell you, it's still one of my favorite shows of my life because me and these 2 guys were having a ball, and I was doing my act. They were laughing so hard, hats was off, they was hitting each other. They became like my local fans. So if I had a show and they found out, they were there. And then they started bringing friends. It got to the point where I could always count on them for like 6, 7 people every time I had a decent show. Because back then you run, if you had a show where you was trying to make a little money, you'd have flyers and you'd run around town and give people flyers and put them on cars. If those 2 dudes got wind of it, they was there.
You remember those 2 guys' names?
I don't. I never really met them. They were just always there. Because I was always on stage, and I'd get on stage, I'd see them. But when I talk about loyal, and granted, most of my shows were free back then, so they were just like, yo, this dude.
No, it reminds me of, I was a big fish in a small pond on these bands that I played with back in the Midwest. Clinton, Iowa, Davenport, different places around there.
Slow down, John.
It's big.
It's down.
Big.
Clinton,
Iowa.
Woo.
Yeah. So
the groupies there must have been amazing. And Clinton, Iowa.
For John Zink from Mount Carroll, Illinois, it was okay. So we'd go and we'd play at these different places. You'd start on Sunday night. No, you started on Monday, and you'd have 7 days in a row you'd play. The band would play every night of the week. And you'd have different people that would show up every night of the week to see you play. And if you're playing on a Monday night, there might be 15 people. Play on Friday and Saturday night, you got a few hundred people.
Right.
And then you'd have to end on Sunday night playing to 15 people again. It was ridiculous. But it just took me back there to the loyalty of those people and how I can only imagine it just like grows your fan base, and it makes you see that if you just keep on doing this, it'll just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow from there if you stay loyal to those people.
Imagine just think about this. Imagine you just were in Minnesota and saw Prince at 18 years old at some bar. Imagine that story. Most people wouldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny when people reach out to me and say they saw me in 98. You know what I mean? Dude, you came to my college and performed in the cafeteria. It's like, what? And you remember those shows, they jar your memory and you're like, whoa. I remember your expectations are so low when you first start doing stand-up. The Red Roof Inn was the Ritz. I remember going to one city and the promoter had me and the other comic in the same room, and I had to call him dude, this ain't no slumber party, bro. I need my own room. And this is when I had my first manager is hysterical. He's not even in the business anymore. I'm not going to name his name and throw him under the bus, but the first manager I ever had in stand-up, couple things should have led me to believe maybe he was in over his head. He books me at this place called the Brass Ring in Kansas City, Missouri. $500 all in. So I had to get myself there. The promoter was going to pick me up from the airport and get me a hotel room. It was $500, but I got to get myself there, right? And I brought my opener because he goes, my opener would just want to go. So he flew on a buddy pass, and the only thing we asked the promoter was, get his own hotel room. So we get there. He got us both in the same hotel room. And it's like a La Quinta. It ain't nothing fancy. And I had to call him yo, I called my manager. I said, he got us both in the same room. Your manager's job is to fix that. Manager goes, let me call him. My manager calls back. He goes, that guy's crazy. Just get out of there. And I go, I'm here. I'm in Kansas City. I can't just leave. He goes, well, he's not trying to switch it. I went, so we get to the show, right? This is how I got him to switch rooms. This is how I got him, because he was there's been quite a few shows where it's a drug dealer cleaning his money through comedy shows. And this was one of those shows. This guy was clearly dirty. A lot of cash was getting exchanged, and he was clearly just trying to flip his drug money. So when I'm vibing and I'm figuring it out, I go, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. So I said, let me just pull him aside. I said, hey, man, listen, I got some hoes here. I can't bring him back and the dude's in the room. So, you know how it is, man. I can't have no dude. I'm trying to knock these girls. I have no idea what these mythical girls are. I'm just telling them, right? He goes, oh, yeah, man, that's real. I said, so, I can't have my boy in the room with me. That's weird. And, he goes, all right, man, yeah. I'm going to get your boy in another room. Appreciate that. But the fact that I just went to like his level, like, I got some hoes, man. I can't. He was like this. Oh, yeah. I told my opener, I go, you're good, man. Got your own room.
La Quinta.
Yeah. He splurged on the $89.
I've got a favorite story that I'm hoping that you'll tell everybody today. You were in the Navy, and there was one of your guys. You guys were at a convenience store, I think, and you were inside.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe East.
Okay, so can you tell the story about Joe East? Because it's my favorite.
Yeah. It was the night of the George Foreman Michael Moore fight, where George Foreman knocked Michael Moore out and regained the heavyweight title. That's why I cannot forget this night. So I lived in the barracks half the time, or I would live on my own, but we never had like cable, But Joe was married, had a couple kids. If he was older than me, he had cable. So he would get all the fights. And so I said, hey, it's Saturday night. I said, hey, you getting the fight? He goes, yeah. So I come over to his house to get the fight. We go to the 7-Eleven for the fight. We're getting like beer and snacks. And it was one of those Navy guys were weird. When you didn't have a big bash, you brought your own snacks. You brought your own liquor because we don't make a lot of money. He's buying stuff. I'm buying stuff. So he's already checked out. He's in front of the 7-Eleven. Now I'm buying my stuff at the 7. I look out the door. And Joe's a big dude from Louisiana backwoods, had a thick accent. He's just not a guy you cross, right? And these three...
So how big? How, like
6'4"?
Yeah.
And thick.
Yeah.
Like a big dude. And muscles, though. Not ripped, but just thick.
Big
right? Dude. And I look out there, and there's these, like, it was 3 or 4 black kids that are around him. And I thought they knew him by the way they was talking to him. And I'm looking at him, and they're sitting there. So Joe's got, like, this bag's got the beer, this bag's got the snacks. Joe drops his bags and starts doing this with his arms. I'm like, what's he doing? And then the kids are looking at each other, and then they just walk away. And I go, that was weird. So I walk out, and now I got my alcohol and snacks. I go, what was that? Are your neighbors or something? He goes, nah. Because I walked outside. Those 4 guys surrounded me. I was like, give us your shit or we're going to fuck you up. So Joe said, start fucking, motherfuckers. And start pumping this. And I go, what? And here I am, his homeboy, thinking, oh, he knows these guys.
Right.
My naive ass.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they were trying to jump you? And he goes, the one kid goes, he's packing, man. He's got to be packing. Nobody's that bold. But if you knew Joe, that's Joe. He would have fought him. No doubt, and probably won. That was one dude. He was on the base, and we were both cops on the base. I loved it when I rode with Joe because I knew I was safe, and I knew we'd be laughing all night. You know what I mean? Even the way he dealt with people when he pulled them over, it just was funny, man.
Oh,
fun. He could have been in the business. He was that funny, and he ended up being a lifer. I found him on Facebook.
Oh, lifer Navy?
Yeah, he ended up going for 20, and it's so weird when you start out and you know guys when they're immature and in their early 20s, and then you find out they end up being like a warrant officer, lieutenant, or they're the command master chief. You're like, that guy? I wouldn't trust that guy.
Did he have the real thick Louisiana accent?
Thick.
Cajun?
That's why my story it's not as good because I don't have the accent.
Yeah.
If I had the accent, the way he talked, I can't even do it. I can't even do the accent.
Well, my wife's family, Carissa's family, is from Lafayette, Louisiana. And she's got a couple of, I think they're cousins, that sound just like the coach from Waterboy. Yeah. And it's just, I'm like, what? And they're laughing and smiling the whole time. I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck he just said, but it's hilarious.
Baby.
I already know this about you, but I'm going to ask it for the sake of the podcast. Are you a regimented person?
What do you think? I'm ex-military.
I know you are. It's like
I just had a discussion with my wife when I got home. We shouldn't be homeowners. Let me put it that way. We should be renting and having people take care of stuff for us because we don't know how to fix things. Thank God we got people in the neighborhood that know how to fix things.
Kevin.
Exactly. And amongst other people,
Don
Zales.
Yeah.
dude. And even today I got home and like 6-7 weeks ago, I completely covered our backyard, all the outdoor furniture, got everything together. The one thing I could not do was this picnic table with these green apples that my wife has that you've had sex with.
They're great.
So I come home. So 6-7 weeks ago when I did it, I said I couldn't do the table because you got your stuff on there. So I just get that done, please. She goes, okay, when you get back, it'll be done. I got back 2 weeks later, it wasn't done. Went on the road again, came back a week later, it wasn't done. Now I just got back today. I go, hey, the backyard still isn't done. And Kenny goes, my wife goes, well, it was, I went out there to do it and it was raining. So the tarp was wet. So I had to turn over, if you knew that. So I said, so why is the apple still on the table? And she's like, what do you mean? She goes, we don't cover up the apples. We put those up for the winter, right? She goes, yeah. I go, so why the apple's still on the table? She goes, well, I couldn't cover it up, so I didn't know why I'd take the apples off. I go, because you're showing me that you're doing what I asked you to do. Because I'm getting better. I used to call her every day when things went. You do the table yet? You do the table yet? Hey, what are you doing? You do the table yet? And then now I let it go for all 2 weeks. When I came home, it wasn't done. I go, that's why I call every day and ask you about the table. So she just texted me during the podcast. She goes, table's done. but then she gave me the guilt trip like this. I'm just going to put it on with wet tarp then. I was like, that's fine. As long as it gets done.
So one of the things that I read was that you had won Funniest Serviceman in America.
Yeah.
So is that something they have every year?
It's a title, but it's not a real accolade because I don't think it was a worldwide search. It was probably West Coast military.
Okay.
Because the contest was on Camp Pendleton, which is the big Marine base outside of San Diego. And there was flyers all over the Navy bases. Funniest Serviceman in America contest, funniest serviceman, right? And I was like, oh. So I remember I did it 2 years in a row. The first year I did it, I wasn't that experienced, but I clearly won. It was the biggest robbery since Roy Jones Jr. in the Olympics when he didn't win the gold medal, or Evander Holyfield. It was so obvious I won. The crowd started booing when they announced the winner, and I was like, oh.
Would somebody know somebody?
I'll get to that. So, what I found out about what happened was I was like, man, I clearly had the best set, and I'm not. I mean, I think all comedians have an ego about us, but I'm not an arrogant ass. But if somebody was better, maybe like, okay, I can see how he won. This wasn't that case. It was like so far from, because I was working. I'm on the road every night. Like I'm out there doing like 3 spots a night, 5-6 days a week. So I'm an amateur, but I'm out there. The other comedians, they were really military guys, just kind of winging it a little bit, right? So the stage presence and the level of jokes was like, it wasn't even close. And the fact that this guy won, I went. So the next year I came back, and I'm talking a year later where I'm already like, I'm getting out of the Navy. I'm the dude in San Diego. So the next year they couldn't have taken it from me. It was worse. It was like, how can I explain it? It was almost like, it'd be like Floyd Mayweather fighting like an amateur, right? It was like, there was no doubt I was winning the next year.
Right.
But I found out that the year before, I was like, this is weird why I didn't win. That's why I came back and did it. It was almost like a proof thing.
I'll show you.
The lady that organized it, that was the host, she was ex-military. She's a stand-up. And I guess somehow she got kind of threatened by me. Like, who's this guy coming in, really ripping these rooms up and getting looks in LA? Like, I was getting like calls to go up to LA and do stuff. So I think it was a little bit of like, wait a minute, I'm the military chick. I'm the funny one. Because I found out later she started bad-mouthing me to promoters and stuff like that. So I had a buddy of mine call her and say, hey, man, act like you want to book me and ask her what I'm like to work with. So he said, hey, this is so I'm looking to book Gary Owen. And this lady was like, I wouldn't work with him. Yeah, he's hard to work with. He says, like, she laid into me. And I was like, so at the end, my buddy goes, well, I'm his friend, but thanks. Gary's on the other line. And she just went, well, I'm getting out of stand-up anyway, so I don't really care. And hung up. And that's how she ended the phone call. And I was like, but she was also one of the judges for that contest. She was hosting one of the judges. So I was like, she had something to do with me not winning. Do I sound bitter? Even though it's been 25 years?
Let me ask. Did she ever do anything?
No. I don't even know what happened.
Nobody that acts like that ever does anything.
Right. And I was like, it was so weird because I was like, so the next year, even though she was a judge and she was hosting again, that was like her deal. She was the judge of that contest because she's ex-military. I made sure there was no doubt. They couldn't have.
Yeah.
They just couldn't. The year before, maybe it wasn't, the separation wasn't as much. But the only reason I went back, because even my people at the time, my agent was like, why are you doing that? I go, this is personal. This is personal. This has nothing to do with the $50 gift certificate to Wendy's that I'm going to win.
I'm double stacked. I got double stacks everywhere. Triple stacks.
No, you don't understand. I'm getting a Mississippi mud pie from Black Angus for free. I think that was it. It was $50 at Black Angus was the first prize.
I mean, the real question here, though, because we know a lot about restaurants. So, how many pancakes are in a stack
at Cracker Barrel?
At Cracker Barrel.
You can order however many you want.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. But if you want a full stack, that's 3.
All right, let me put that down.
But if you want, let me tell you something. I eat Cracker Barrel a lot.
Okay.
You can order half a pancake if you want.
All right. You hear that, KC? All right, anyway.
Whatever you want. No. Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. So, you said it before. Everybody knows about it. You have a huge African-American fan base. I'm a white guy. I laugh my ass off at your stuff. Why has white America been so far behind on Gary Owen?
Probably just exposure. Because my first 2 years on TV was BET. You're not watching Black Entertainment Television. You're not going to know who I am.
Right.
Most of the movies I've been in had black lead actors. You didn't go see the movie, you don't know who I am. So
is that just because of the places where you started out in San Diego? Like you said, they were like, what do you say, hood?
Part. And then when I got to LA, how you become a paid regular at the Comedy Store. When I first got to LA, you have to wait in line. It's like a 3-hour wait. It was either on Sunday or Monday, and you would see the line down the block outside the Comedy Store, and it's everybody signing up, hoping to get that. It's almost like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You're hoping to get that one time where Mitzi Shore, who's Pauly Shore's mom, ran a Comedy Store. She was the gatekeeper, so to speak. She would watch your set, and she would be like, okay, you are now a paid regular. Now you can call and get spots when you at the Comedy Store. I did that 2-3 times at least where I waited in that line and signed up, didn't get on, waited in line again, signed, didn't get on. Finally do it. I wait in line, and I'm doing other spots around LA, so comics are getting to know me, but I'm doing all the urban spots, the Black Nights. And finally get on. 5 of you get the showcase, right? You each get like 4 or 5 minutes. So I never forget, it was 4 girls and me. I said, that's odd. I went, I thought that was different. That it was 4, because there's not a lot of female comics. So the fact that I'm showcasing with 4 female comics and myself, I go up, I was the 5th of everybody. When I got on stage, I looked, the Comedy Store, the original room is very small. I looked, and Mitzi has the 4 girls sitting around her, and she's talking to them. She never watched my set. And I'm there going, she didn't even watch my set. And then I called the next day, and they go, yeah, you're not a paid regular. And I went, what? And then I was like, huh. And then I was like, can you tell me why? And they go, nah, she just said no. I was like, and I said to myself, I will never.
Tony Pappas in the house, everybody.
Yeah.
That's right. We're here.
All right.
And we'll be out in just a second.
We're in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's the problem when you have guys that own car dealerships. They feel like they can just walk into any room.
It's the people from Vista Dorado.
Let me tell you something. If you work at a car dealership, you knock.
Right.
If you own a dealership, you open the door. And that's just, if you're looking for a Hyundai in the Bay Area, look up a guy named Pappas.
Yeah, Tony Pappas.
If you're looking for a Rolls Royce, don't call him.
Don't call him at all. I don't even know who you call.
But anyways, before I got really interrupted by the car owner,
it was
who's
rude.
my next door neighbor. I'm just gonna go in his house tonight and open up his front door. Oh, sorry, we're here.
Oops.
Merry
He's
Christmas.
having sex with his wife.
Merry Christmas. Congratulations. I was expecting a little more, Tony. So, anyways, I said to myself, I will never, ever come back here and perform in that room. I never have, but I do the urban nights there. I would start doing the urban nights. The Tuesday night was called Fat Tuesday back then. And I would do the urban nights, but I was so like in my feelings a little bit. And now she's passed away since, but now I don't feel like that. But when you're in your early 20s, you're trying to get in out there, I was so like, she didn't even, you're so like, she didn't watch me.
Yeah.
I'm telling all my friends, what happened? She had the girls around her. She didn't watch my set. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I waited three different Sundays. I waited for 3 hours for this. So I just went, I'm good. And so I just started doing all the urban nights, the black nights in LA. I could get on whenever I wanted, and they got to know me.
Right.
And those were, not only did they become like nights I could go up, those became my friends. Those are the guys I would hang out with and go watch games with, or, go to nightclubs with and stuff like that. So that's the circle I ran with.
It was interesting to me because I didn't know you until you became my neighbor. And then I started doing research. I'm like, well, who is this guy? And then I watched all of your stand-up routines or all your stand-up specials. I'm like, this guy is fucking hilarious, and dying. So here's a funny story. So my wife and I are inside watching one of your newer Showtime specials. Mm-hmm. And if you look from your house over to our house, you can kind of see the TV.
Yeah.
And Carissa's like, what if Gary sees us watching his special?
I saw it.
And I told you about it. You're like, wouldn't it be funny if I was knocking on your door, on your window? Wait till you see this part.
That's why I started hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, they got really good taste.
Yeah. Hey, if they're going to support me, I got to support them.
So it was an interesting thing to me because I was like, how have I not heard of this guy before? And like I said before, we go up to Harrah's and like walking around. It's like you said, you're anonymous pretty much with white people, and then black people, everybody knows you. Mm-hmm. And it's such an interesting thing to watch because to me, all of your material is funny to everybody.
Well, here's the thing with comedy material. The best comics, they don't sidetrack and stuff they don't know for the sake of the laugh. My job, I don't expect everybody to be married to a black lady and have mixed kids, but my job is to bring into my world and be like, oh, okay, I get that. Even though I don't know that, I understand it. I mean, there was a time in my career where I did go too far left. I was like, early on when I started headlining, I'm just doing, there's no white people coming to see me at all. All my jokes was directed towards black people and black this, black that. And I was like, it hit me like, I think I was in Salt Lake and there were so many white people in the room. And I was like, I got nervous. I go, oh fuck, they're not going to get this. They're not going to get this. I go, I gotta make a conscious effort to make sure my jokes cross over no matter who sees it. They understand it. And that comes with time. And that's also why I love my profession, because I'm in my 40s now. And I remember, I feel like I'm name dropping, but I had a meeting with Keenan Ivory Wayans about a year ago. And he goes, yo, you're in your Jedi years. I said, what do you mean? He goes, the 40s for comedians that start out in their 20s, those are the Jedi years, because you're old enough that you have enough life experience that you can pull from so much, but you're not that old that you're out of touch
right
with the younger kids. He goes, you're right there in the pocket right now. Like, you are right there. Like, you should just be like, your creative juices should be flowing and everything going. And I really feel like that. Like, I know it's cliche, but I feel like I'm at my best right now. Because I look at some of my old sets and I cringe. Even the other day I was watching something from like 98. I was so young and I was like, God, I was a good looking guy back then. And I was like, man, I can see why I pulled who I pulled. I can see why kid you slept with.
Yeah, right.
But I was like, man, I cringe at how my delivery was, how I was walking around the stage, how I was like kind of laughing at my own stuff. I was like, oh my God, how did I ever get on TV with that shit? But now I'm like, oh, okay. I'm right in the pocket right now, I think.
Well, speaking of the being regimented, I mean, how do you go about writing? Is there a certain amount of time that you write every day or every week? Or how do you go about putting together your sets and all the things that you do? Is there a regimented amount of time that you put to your career every day?
No, I don't write. I've never written a joke down in my life. It's just all up here. But I'm on stage so much. I don't want to be like I'm freestyling. I'm not. But everything's up here. Like, I'll get in my phone sometimes. I'll put a word in my notes. Just a word. And if Kenny gets on my phone, she might see sweet pussy. She's like, who's sweet pussy? I go, oh, that's a joke. But I'll just put a word down. And I'm like, okay, that'll trigger the joke. The one word might be 15 minutes on stage for me. But I don't ever write my jokes. I'm just like, it just is there. And I'm like, and a lot of times I'm just talking about my life. And sometimes I won't do a joke for a couple months. And, one guy that's opening for me, be like, hey, man, you ain't done that joke in a while. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I haven't done that joke in a while. It's funny how you say when you start out 5 minutes seems like a long time. Now, when I'm headlining, I need an hour. So you guys saw me right when things were starting to open up a little bit in California. And you saw me one of my first sets back. I was so all over the place that day because you saw I had been on stage probably 5 times in 4 months. And I was like, it's like riding a bike, but you got to get on the bike a little bit before you're popping wheelies and stuff.
Well, no. My favorite part about that whole night was you were talking to me out back of my house about this new bit that you were working on.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it. And then I'm sitting there watching you. And it was weird because of COVID, we all had headphones on.
Yeah.
And they all they lit up green. So you looked around and it looked like you were on Star Wars or something like that with all these people on with green headsets. But you started telling that joke and I was laughing my ass off so much from the beginning of it because I knew what was coming. And I'm like, thank God everybody's got headsets on because they don't know what this asshole is laughing about over here. But that was a really cool experience for me to kind of be on the inside of how you as a comedian write your jokes or how you go through the whole process, because it was from us sitting on 2 lounge chairs out back of the house and you talking about it to the way you delivered it was awesome to see.
Well, that's how you get 90% of your act. You're just talking with your boys, be like, I'm going to try that. I always tell my openers too, when we go on the road and we do like next week, I got 8 shows in Toledo. I tell my openers, man, you're only going up for 20, 30 minutes. If you do the same 30 minutes every night, you wasted your week. What are you doing? I go, try something different. Put it in you want to get the audience in the beginning, and obviously you want to get them in the end. But in the middle, you got to try some stuff. And if it doesn't work, who gives a shit?
Right.
You got a club. And you're pushing yourself because in the end, if somebody comes to a comedy show, as long as I'm funny, the headliner, they leave happy.
Yeah.
I know it sounds heartless, but they don't really care about the opener.
Right.
It's like if you're going to see your favorite group live and then there's some local band opening up first, if the local band that kind of sucked, as long as live is good,
exactly.
John Zink's going home happy.
Right.
The same with comedy shows. As long as the headliner's good, they don't care. So I'll be looking at my openers like, what are you doing? You're doing the same shit every single night. I go, you got to push yourself, bro. Because guys are going on the road with me. I want them to be like huge headliners one day, and I wouldn't mind opening up for them and stuff. I want to see them flourish.
Yeah.
I almost I want to be like I was a part of that. You know what I mean? Because what I know about the comedy business, there is enough for everybody. There's no reason to be jealous of anybody else's success or however many tickets. I'll give you an example. I remember I was in Chicago 5 years ago, and I was doing the Schaumburg Improv. Kevin Hart was doing the United Center. My agent called me and was like, yo, you want to move your date? Because, you guys are kind of pulling from the same audience a little bit. And I was like, no, let's just see what happens. Of course, Kev sold out the United Center. I sold out all my shows at the Improv and then added 2 more. And that weekend, I was like, there's enough. There's enough for everybody in this business. So you got 2 big headliners in the same city, and there was enough people that want to see Kevin and then people want to see me, and Schaumburg's about 30 minutes from Chicago or 20 minutes or something. So it still was the same market, same radio promotion, everything, but there's enough for everybody, even on the same weekend.
Right.
So that's why I was like, there's enough. No reason to be jealous of other people.
So you've been in 20 movies, or is it more than 20 movies?
I don't know. Like
It's
good,
a lot.
Good movies? Good movie 6.
What was your first movie?
Held Up with Jamie Foxx.
Okay. And
Jamie saw me on stage and got me the audition, and I'm literally just some struggling comic. And like 3 weeks later, I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada, shooting a movie with Jamie. That cast, we were all young. Jamie was the big gun, right? So we had Nia Long, who still is killing it. Sarah Paulson, who's been Oscar nominated, crushing it right now. Rosalind Sanchez, who right after that got Rush Hour 2 and took off in her own. She's got her own huge fan base. Like that cast, Barry Corbin, it was just like Jake Busey, who's Gary Busey's son, who's got his own great career. Like we were all so young, and to be together all in, like Jamie was the veteran. He was like 30. We were all in our early 20s and just everybody just working. It was fun. And I posted a picture about a couple months ago of me and Sarah. We look like little kids. She's just looking up at me because, you know, we're in this small town to do, and we were working 6 days a week. So our only night off was Saturday night because we wrap early and Sunday we were off. So we went to one club called City Lights in Saskatchewan, the only one. And we just took the club over and just had a ball for the 6 weeks we were there. It was just fun. Everybody was kind of single and free, and it was just like, it was a good time, man. It's one of my favorite experiences in the business. And looking back on it, I got to spend a summer with Jamie Foxx. Who gets to say that?
yeah, no shit. So what was that your favorite movie to make? Or what was your favorite?
That was exciting. My favorite movie to make was College, which nobody saw. We shot that in New Orleans. It was like a Porky's, like just fun college movie. And it was fun. I got to get real close with Mini-Me, Vern Troyer.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, but that was my dude, man. I was Bear Cat, he was Bear Kitten. We were secret lovers. You know what I mean?
No, I still have to watch it. You told me about it. I'm like,
the best story is we went to a strip club one night, and in New Orleans, we're on Bourbon, and you know Vern he's the party guy, and he got all the attention, and I felt like his handler, and I loved every minute of it because we went into a strip club. And I'm not going to say who was in there, but there was some heavy-hitting NFL players in there. Heavy. Hall of Fame, and they were playing at the time. These strippers left the VIP with all these NFL guys and saw Vern, and that was it. Vern took the strip club over. They picked him up like that old Tootsie Pop commercial. How many licks does it take to get to the center? And they're just passing him around. And I'm like, you know, I wasn't as big then. Nobody knew who I was. But we left. I remember one of the nights we left. I took his cart. He had this cart. He couldn't really get around without it. And I'm drunk as shit riding this motherfucker down Bourbon Street. And I don't realize Vern literally cannot go anywhere without it.
You're cruising around.
Oh, my God. I came back a half hour later, and Vern goes, "Hey, asshole. I can't go anywhere without it." I go, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." So then the whole ride back, we're at the same hotel. He's going slow. I'm walking with him. I think I got a drink because, you know, bourbon, you can walk with a drink. And it's like 3, 4 in the morning. It's me and Vern just bullshitting. "Gary, you know I can't go anywhere without it, man. I thought you fucking left me, asshole. People come picking me up and passing me around." I go, "I'm sorry, man. I didn't know, bro." Oh. That was my guy, man.
You've done just about everything. And one of the things you did was you had your own reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that, by the way, is still on Amazon Prime and BET Plus if people want to watch it.
Go out and see it. Because I need to watch it because my wife watches all this bullshit. The Real Housewives of every city in the freaking country.
And none of them are real?
That's what I was going to ask you. Is any of that shit real?
I don't know how every reality show is. I know ours was like, it was real. It was real, but we kind of knew what was coming. You know, some episodes were kind of planned out. We don't know what we're going to say. There's not like a script. But, you know, they're not like, I mean, we had some episodes that was serious. I went back to my high school and talked about drug addiction and things like that. My brother passing away. And I just told him, I said, "There's no cut. Just edit it." I go, "But you got to keep the cameras rolling. Just be ready. I don't know what's going to happen."
Yeah.
So things like that, you got to make it organic and then edit it down. But, you know, it's not like probably 60% real and 40% is got to be ready to, kind of know what's coming.
I just always walk in and I hear, I hate you. You're trying to ruin my life. Blah, 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 blah. They're just screaming at each other all the time. And people love it. They
Makes for good TV. You're not going to watch a show that you're like, I like you, man. You're cool. You're cool, too. You're real cool. Now you're cooler.
Watch that becomes a huge thing now. Somebody watches the podcast, go, that's a good idea. So I wanted to dig into it a little bit because you know my background. I'm 6.5 years sober. Part of my story and part of this podcast is it's called True Ambition. And True Ambition actually comes out of one of the books from my 12-step program I went through. And it says that true ambition is not what we thought it was. True ambition is the profound desire to live usefully and walk humbly under the grace of God. When I read that, it kind of changed my perspective on things. You talked about it for a second about your brother passing away. Can you talk a little bit about Dallas and how that all went down? Because I think what I really want to do is kind of maybe help some people out that might be struggling out there with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, some of that kind of stuff.
Well, I think all my family members, as far as us kids, Dallas, Kyle, Ashley, they all grew up in the trailer under my stepdad. And my stepdad he never went to war, but he clearly suffers from PTSD and never addressed it. So, because he always used to say my childhood was worse than yours. And I have no doubt his childhood was worse than mine, but he took out all his aggression, didn't know where to place it. A lot of it came to me, and it kind of came to everybody. So you got all these 4 kids that grew up in this trailer that we're all suffering from childhood trauma. Luckily, with the help of my wife and other people, I got help. I got to deal with it. I realized what was happening. Dallas didn't. My brother Dallas turned to drugs, and specifically heroin. And I didn't know he was doing heroin. I knew he smoked weed. I knew how I found out my brother was on heroin was he never had a cell phone for more than a couple months. So literally, I still got in my phone. If you look at it, I probably got my brother's name 5 times. There's 5 different numbers in there. And so most of our contact was through Facebook, Instant Messenger. And he messaged me like, Gary, can you call me? Can you call me? Here's a number. He gave me his girlfriend's phone number. So I called him, and first I said, how much you need? I just figured it was money. And then he goes, no. And then he was telling me he was rambling. It didn't make sense. He goes, I don't want to die. I got a daughter, all this other stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, man, I need help, man. I can't do it on my own. And the phone went dead. And I go, what is going on here? Either I called back or his girlfriend called me back. I can't remember. But I called right back, and his girlfriend's on the phone. And I could hear him kind of moaning in the background. And he had shot up. So when he called me, he was getting ready to shoot up. And he was calling me like as a last, like, can you help stop this? I can't stop myself. So I go, what? And he goes, you shot up. And that's when his girlfriend said, yeah, he's using heroin. I go, what? So I'm dumbfounded right now. I said, all right. She goes, I want to get him into rehab. And literally I remember her saying, I got $100. And I go, Kenny was laying next to me, my wife. And I said, yo, Dallas just shut up. He's all messed up. I called my mom. I said, go get Dallas. I said, you got to get him. He was living in the Section 8 apartment. I go down there and get him. He just shut up, Mom. I don't know if he overdosed or not. So I guess she went down there and got him. And in the meantime, I'm on the internet just looking up rehab facilities. And then they was trying to put him in a rehab facility where it was like one night. Through 10 minutes of research, I saw you got to change people, places, and things. You got to change the people you're with, the place you're living, and the things you're doing. So I said, okay, he cannot go to rehab in Cincinnati. I got to get him out of town. So I found a place called the Quest House in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's 4 hours from Cincinnati. So I said, how much is it? I get the lady on the phone. She said, it's $4,100. Okay. Kenya immediately drove to the bank, got a cashier's check for $4,100. I called my mom. She got Dallas. She said, okay, we got him. Yeah, he OD'd, but he's alive. But she goes, he's going to come out of this angry. I was like, what do you mean? So she knew he was an addict. My mom knew. So I go, you know this? You know he's using? They go, yeah, he's overdosed before. Nobody's ever told me. So I said, all right, Mom, I got him in the Quest House. They don't open until 9 a.m. tomorrow. So she goes, all right. I said, do you want me to come to you or do you want to meet me here? What do you want to do? Because we got to leave at like 4 in the morning to be there when it opens. So I ended up meeting her at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I remember I met her at her work. She worked at this factory. And I pulled up and we were going to go in my car. Mom said, just let's go in my car because he's passed out in the back seat. So he ended up sleeping the whole ride down there. And we got there too early. They weren't open yet. But I remember I woke him up and it was like 7 in the morning. And he was like, we was at this McDonald's. And I said, Dallas, come on, man, get up, man. And he goes, where are we at? And I go, we're here to get you help. And he goes, and he would never get angry with me. So I definitely had that big brother persona over him. So he was like, what are we doing? I said, we're here going to get help, man. I never brought up we're at a rehab facility. I said, we're going to get you help. All right, so this is where I'm going to be? And I was like, yeah. I said, you want anything to eat? Got him something to eat at McDonald's. We sat in the parking lot for a little bit. Then we went to a rehab center, got him in. And I remember the drive back after getting him in rehab. And he was in there for 5 weeks. That's the happiest I'd seen my mom because she was like, I think she had a little hope. And she even said, she goes, this is the first time in like years that I'm not worried about a phone call coming. So he was in rehab for 5-6 weeks. I can't remember the exact amount of time. And I kept telling my mom, like, he cannot come back to Oxford. We got to find somewhere for him to go. So I remember making phone calls to different comedy clubs asking, do they need a cook or a door guy or any minimum wage job that I can get him in. And I was telling Kenny we might have to get him an apartment and we could stay there for a little bit. I remember my mom saying, oh, I remember Phoenix the guy was pretty open to help me out, the manager. And she was like, my mom goes, oh, he can't be 2,000 miles away from his daughter. And I go, Mom, do you want a dad 2,000 miles away? You want a dead dad? And she goes, he just can't do that. So literally he got out of rehab, moved back in with my mom and stepdad, and he OD'd a couple more times. And eventually he overdosed and died. And I'm looking, you feel kind of guilty looking back because I should have just took the reins more. I tried to fall back because I didn't want to like act like my mom and stepdad don't know what they're doing, but they didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
And I was like, so looking back, I wish I would have did more, but I did do as much as I could to help them. But I don't know. And then my other brother, he's been in and out of jail for using and dealing. And I just think, I don't know. I think, I know it's out. I don't know why I was able to get out of it and never fell into that. Like my whole focus growing up was to prove my stepdad wrong. It wasn't to fall into the trap because he overdosed. He was a heroin addict. I remember visiting him in jail growing up, in and out. So it was like, I didn't want to repeat the cycle. And him being so abusive, more mentally than physically, it was, I remember just thinking, I'm going to prove him wrong. That's one reason why I've never done drugs.
Right.
It was like, my whole focus is there's no way he's ever going to say I knew it. So to this day, I'm like, when people offer me stuff, because I get it. I get offered all the time.
Right.
Cocaine and everything else, mushrooms. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll have drinks every now and then, but I'm not like a drinker. I'm more of a social drinker. It's like, so you have a drink at your house, you wanted some, yeah, I'll have one. But that's it. Nothing else.
Well, there's a lot of people that, and I appreciate you going into it. There's a lot of people that, because of their environment, because of PTSD from growing up, from situations, from jobs, from wars, whatever it is, some people just can't escape from it, no matter how hard they try. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough thing. I'm in these rooms with people and I listen to their stories, and it's heartbreaking sometimes because they'll sit there and tell a story they do not want to use, they do not want to drink, they do not want to do it, and they know they're going to go back out and do it after sitting there and pouring their guts out that they don't want to do it because they have nothing else to turn to make them feel decent. Mm-hmm. So it's such a hard thing. But for anybody who is listening to this or watching, reach out for help, no matter what it is. Exactly what you said is exactly true. if you want to change and become a better person, all you have to do is change everything.
Well, you also are, like, I always want to be the dumbest guy in the room. You know what I mean? Because I think I'm pretty smart. I'm a decent guy. I can read people. I don't, if I'm the smartest guy, I'm like this, that's a room I shouldn't be in. And you are a product of who you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with good, successful people, and it's just gonna happen.
Right.
You're gonna like be a sponge and start following in their footsteps and want to do what they do and hang out with people they hang out with. Your circle. You know what I mean? So when I knew the people that my brother was hanging out with, I was like, that's not a good circle. Because I there's little clues, like I should have, looking back, I should have picked up. Remember, he had a little apartment in our little hometown one time, and I wanted to see it. So I remember I picked him up to go get something to eat one time, and it was, I was like, yo, can I see your apartment? He goes, no, I don't want you to be around those animals. That's literally what he said. He almost was protecting me from himself when he was with me. I never got to just go to where he lived, or I never met any of his friends. He kept that, and he got mad at my mom when after he got out of rehab, he overdosed again, and my mom said, can you talk to him? Because he seems to listen to you. So I could hear him yelling in the background, and then literally mom goes, Gary's on the phone. He goes, huh? And I said, just put him on the phone, Mom. So he got on the phone with me after I could hear him yelling going off. Why'd you tell him? And he goes, hello? I go, Dallas, can I come talk to you? And he was like, yeah. No, first he was like this. He goes, I don't know. I said, Dallas, I'm just coming to talk. I'm not coming to judge you. I'm not telling you what to do. I just want to talk. He was like, all right. I said, I'll be there in an hour. Picked him up. We got something to eat, and we just talked. And I knew he was feeding me a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
Even when he told me, I said, what happened? I said, just tell me what happened. You tell me. He gave me some story that was out of left field. And I was like, all right. And then he goes, but I don't know what happened, man. And I was just like, went back, talked to my mom. I said, Mom, he's got to get out of here. Got to get out. And she just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't do it.
Well, I appreciate you going into it, because it can help a lot of people when they hear stories about some folks that have went to the greatest length they can, which is dying. That is one of the places that they can go, that we can go. If I were to drink tomorrow, I mean, that's my next step. Mm-hmm. Because I know I can't drink a goddamn thing. Mm-hmm. I used to drink everything. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have been around me that have never seen me drink.
So would you say you have an addictive personality?
Oh my God.
You can't just have one drink and that's it.
No.
See, luckily I don't have that.
Yeah.
I can have a drink and walk away.
Yeah. I've seen you drink, and it's like, I watch people like you and sipping on a drink for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Gary's a pussy, lightweight.
One thing I was going to say before.
We could never hang out in 96.
If Kenya sees my phone and it says sweet pussy, you better hope there's no phone number next to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, it's been awesome to have you here today, and I appreciate you being on the podcast. I want to ask you a question here at the end that I ask everybody who's on the True Ambition podcast. Mm-hmm. So, you've been through a lot. You've been on a journey from the trailer park to being one of the most famous comedians in the
Black
country.
America.
As far as I'm concerned, in all America. Yeah. So you've done a lot of things. So being where you've been, being through what you've been through, what is your true ambition in both your personal life and in your career moving forward?
Ambition, as far as family wise, is I always thought it was cool, and I thought parents do a good job when their kids want to hang out at their house after they don't have to. So the fact that my kids still like hanging out at the house, as much as we bitch about being messy and everything else, I go, they don't want to go to other people's houses to hang out. So I'm like, okay, me and Katie did something right there, because growing up, I didn't want to be home. I always looked at other people's houses like, I could feel like I could decompress there. So the fact that my kids want to still hang out at the house, I'm like this, okay, I've succeeded in that area. I'm I hope I was able to break the generational curse of living paycheck to paycheck. I want my kids to be like, no, you can strive for more. Because my mom said that to me one time. That would be the person I feel like we're doing that. And my daughter's 18 and she's not pregnant yet. So we're breaking, she got to get 2 more years and she's breaking this would be the first and what I can remember of no teenage pregnancy. Because my mom was teenage pregnant, my grandmother and my great grandmother. I don't know before that, but she'll be the first. So we're aiming for the stars here. 20.
Come on, Kennedy.
Come on, you can do it. Close them legs. Professional, I just don't think you ever reach your goal as far as your true ambition, because if I sell 1,000 tickets, I want to sell 2,000. If I'm in a movie, I want to do 2 movies. I mean, if I ever win an Oscar, I want to win 2 Oscars. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey kind of said it. You never reach your goals. They always change. So you should never be able to reach them. Because once you're satisfied, you stop being creative. So you're always pushing yourself. So I don't want to ever reach my goals as far as professionally. Personally, I think we're doing that as we speak. And it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see you can't pick the kids you're going to hang out with, but you can definitely influence the pool from which they choose from. So I think we've done that. We've shown them, we've put them in neighborhoods and areas where they see 2-parent homes. And even if not, we see functional parents that aren't together. They're doing it the right way.
Right.
So I think we've done that. And the people that my kids are hanging out with, I like them. I like their friends. There's not been too many people that came over the house and I was like, watch out for that guy. Watch out for that chick. Right. You know what I mean? It hasn't been like that. So I think we're doing it as we speak.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Just one last thing I'd like to say is to both you and Kenya, thank you for your guidance in starting my own podcast. You know, because it was pretty much you guys I talked to at the beginning when I had this idea. And you guys both kind of gave me some ideas, so I appreciate it.
Well, from here on out, lock the doors so nobody walks in and interrupts in the middle.
Tony!
And then wouldn't leave.
Yeah, no, he just stand there. We should have brought him in here.
He's the boss.
We could have got a deal on a car.
He's not used to being told, you got to leave.
Yeah, get the fuck up. Anyway, so everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to the True Ambition Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
The True Ambition Podcast is brought to you by IT Avalon. For more information and links to other episodes, please visit www.trueambition.org. Now, go find your true ambition.